Daniel, welcome to Cannes. Tell us what you do in advanced advertising today.
I oversee the automation and audience sales solutions for Fox. So we are looking to automate the work process, make it faster, more seamless, and then activate on advanced audiences where possible for brands and clients that have leaned into it.
And tell us where you are on that kind of journey at this point in time. Are you a fully formed beast? Are you still piecing the bits together?
Absolutely still piecing the bits together. I mean, you alluded to a big deal that went down in Europe. There was also one in the United States. So dust is still settling from FX and Nat Geo going to Disney. So I think with Marianne's new leadership, I would say the company itself is certainly in a reformation stage, but so are our advanced TV offerings.
And you're really doubled down on news and sport.
Absolutely. News and sports, live linear is certainly the company bet. So we're excited with what we have. It's smaller, more nimble, and we think it's going to be an exciting place for brands to partner with Fox.
Steve, advanced advertising, what do you do?
I would say that if I would try to characterize what we've done, we have tried a lot of things, sought quick failure, and fast learning on it too. And one of the reasons that I'm glad to be able to be here is because I don't think we've figured out our solution yet. I think we've learned a lot of things along the way, typically much more of what we don't want to do than what we do want to do, and are still searching for it.
Okay, I want to start and talk about fragmentation, everyone's favorite topic. So you guys are programmers, you distribute your channels and services over tens, if not hundreds, of platforms and devices. How do you deal with that complexity? What does that mean for you when you're trying to piece together advanced advertising solutions for clients?
I mean, it's complicated for everybody. Like Steve mentioned, there's a million different places where our content is distributed, and each has different rules and standards and tech specs, and that's what makes it hard. So I think, when you get into the weeds on how we put a plan together, it is very much what can we deliver across these 5 platforms, and what are their standards and methodologies, and what are these 5 standards, and then you have to have the conversation with the client, and they're like, well, we agree with these 5, but not these 5. It's a mess, right? And I think we all want convergence. We want to be able to sell cross-screen, and right now, unfortunately, it's packaging smaller bits of our content, and here's what we can sell this way, here's what we can sell this way. Are you willing to accept it? And answers 50-50, what works, what doesn't. I don't think we've thrown anything out per se. We have learned through trial and error, but...
And when you think about it, how do you categorize the platforms? How do you think about them in a sense that makes a difference to you?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, we're looking at what is delivered via linear and what is delivered via IP, right? I think those two are the cleanest cut of how the content is consumed and what's available, at least at the foundational element of targeting and addressability, but...
And from a Fox point of view, which of these various platforms is the most valuable to you?
It's a tough question. I think they're all valuable for different reasons. I think if you look at our digital footprint, there's probably 15 big devices that stand out. Fire TV, Hulu, Roku. I think everybody in the room knows the big players. I think they all matter to us in their own ways as we piece that together. But I do think strategically looking at those distribution partnerships, we've kind of identified, do you accept our commercial standards in tech? Do you have a data share that you're willing to do with us? Can we, onboard some of your subscribers, create addressability for ourselves? Is there an inventory share opportunity, right? So there's probably 4 key elements that go into all of these new distribution partnerships that wasn't thought about previously. It used to be a race for scale and eyeballs, and we were everywhere. And I think now we're trying to recoil a little bit, and where can we put our signal that it's a true partnership. We're both benefiting from our content on their device, and our content on their device not only yields great viewership, but we also learn and get data and are able to do things differently in those areas. So.
Steve, how much of this echoes with your experience? Are you thinking about platforms in a similar way, a very different way?
Well, first of all, Dan's forgotten more than I know, so I will defer to him on many of those issues. But selfishly speaking, we're in a little bit of a different situation. 92% of our prime time is still watched live. So we don't have the issue of the time shifted and alternative viewing sources that is so prevalent with all of our competitors, colleagues, peers, etc. But I think that, and I find that oftentimes I'm sort of going against the grain here. One of the reasons that we wanted to come to Cannes for the first time this year was because I don't think we can forget that it's rooted first in the creative. We all know that 50% of a campaign's success is based upon the creative message, but beyond that, it's the underlying content that is being distributed. And I think that that's where we need to be reminded that is still job one. In my opinion, and I may have it too long of a point of view here, but the issues regarding standards and unification of those standards are going to happen. It's going to get fixed. It's a rule of nature, basically. It won't happen as quickly as any of us want it to, but it's going to happen because it's the only way that the industry can come together. What I get concerned about these days, and where we've been, I think, completely dissatisfied in what we have found so far, other than with videology, to be quite honest, is that there's a flavor of the week all the time. And it's what is the next silver bullet that's going to fix things. And it doesn't quite fix it now, but it's gonna, so that's why it's going to be a silver bullet. And the truth is that very few of these things have yet panned out. We're not withdrawing. We want to stay involved in all those, but the truth is we can't do all of them and be respectful to them. The thing for us is to try to find those places where we believe that they're really delivering simplified value.
So I think we're heading towards the OpenAP bit of a conversation. You've been involved in OpenAP for a little while. What are your reflections on the group? What have you learned about?
I mean,
Are there any other questions?
We'll come back to that one. Don't worry, this is completely Chatham House rule. It's not.
Maybe
but
Steve can go first then,
Steve,
it sounds like.
So you're in the
Look, we were one of the first non-original partners to sign up with OpenAP, and I completely agree and endorse what OpenAP started with, and still do. We've had an incredibly disappointing first year with OpenAP, and I think that the partnership went through a lot of changes in that period of time. At least 2 of the 3 original partners had ownership changes in that period, which caused a certain measure of uncertainty. But the part that I still agree with, and I think our whole organization agrees with, is there has to be a common vernacular. And the question is it going to be the seller or the buyer who develops that lexicon and that vernacular? What I worry about is that as we do this as sellers, we're asking buyers to change their way of doing business to accommodate what we decide is the way that lexicon process should all be structured. Yet on the other side, I don't think that the buyers can hardly agree what day of the week it is, let alone a standard like that. And in the long run, I happen to believe that agency A is going to compete with agency B in reviews based upon their view of how they deal with advanced advertising. So I don't think it's actually to the advantage of the agencies to have a standard in many ways, so they can differentiate themselves.
So consistency is important and standardization is important in some areas, but not everywhere. Daniel, what's your view? I mean, you've been involved in OpenAP for a while.
Yeah, I mean, we've been there since the beginning. I think, as Steve mentioned, the founding principles of what OpenAP was built on, we still wholeheartedly believe in it, are still marching up the hill together. I think the people, like you said, around the room, the technology, the way we can explore things together with Denise and her team and with John, Hallie, and Bryson at Viacom, right? It's a great group of people. And to your point, we have had a challenge with ownerships and Warner's exit to build Xandr and do their thing, and we get that, right? We're supportive of what they're doing as well, and I think it's through collaboration, it's through testing, it's through helping figure out what we can do and how much of the problem we can solve. That's what we need to focus on, and there's a lot of other problems that we can all sit up here and complain about, but everybody has their piece in this puzzle. I feel like OpenAP is really putting their best foot forward to solve what they feel the programmers' situation is, and then it really is the agencies and the brands and the others that can come to the table if they want to band together. And I hear you. I think we did get feedback when OpenAP launched. It's, my OpenAP is these 6 floors of planners above me, and if I don't have a point of differentiation, how am I going to win new business? And I think that's fair as well. I'm just hopeful they're, going to come together a little more.